Welcome back, everybody. We are about to hop into, man, I'm just so excited. We're about to hop into our first adventure of the evening, one which I have entitled Scare or Snack. But before we do so, as always, we're just going to take a moment and introduce all of our heroes here today. So, without further ado, let us begin. First up, we have a veteran player, but a first-time character. We have Greenie. Greenie, welcome.
Hi, I'm Greenie.
Greenie, would you care to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a Grung.
Oh, you're a Grung. Are you in the court of, or I guess the court might not?
No.
So you're not associated with Pharaoh Frog and Hoppin?
No, not him. No. No, I'm from a tribe of Grung where we're all green.
Is there anything else sort of interesting about your tribe, or are you just sort of green?
I mean, we don't like the caste system because we're on the bottom, so we left.
I mean, that is fair. And is that something that is kind of rigid in the society of Grung, that the
Yes, usually.
That's terrible that the green Grung should just be so kind of deflated because of how they were born.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you have risen above that, Greenie.
Me too.
What skill set do you bring to the table? What made you want to take up with Bartholomew's adventuring troupe?
Well, I mean, some weird stuff happened. I ran a tenement building for a while, and I enslaved all of the people that lived there. And at some point, I lost my poison. I don't know how that works. Yeah.
That's odd that you wouldn't have that kind of poison that's so natural to...
Yeah. I think I drank a homebrewed potion, but it was not right.
It seems like at some point maybe the gods will have to look into getting you...
Yeah, maybe they could fix that.
But for now, unfortunately, it seems you will be without said poison.
I don't know, now I'm a paladin.
And a paladin, that seems just like such a... It seems like you've led a very interesting life, Greenie, and I'm glad to have you here and to learn more about you.
You can't enslave with poison. Sometimes you gotta do it with fear.
Oh, jeez. All right. Greenie, welcome. I was waiting for the dark twist. It's good to have you, Greenie. Awesome. Next up, we have a brand new player, and as such, of course, another brand new character. We have Goat. Welcome, Goat.
Hello.
Goat, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a Bunnyfolk Hexblade, but I specialize in kickboxing.
Oh, yes, of course. Naturally, the sort of bunny's natural advantage, they have those powerful legs kind of give way, but it seems like you've perfected your craft even beyond the average sort of bunny folk.
No, absolutely.
Now, what was it, Goat, that made you kind of want to take up with Bartholomew's adventuring troupe?
I've been a street urchin most of my life.
Oh, dear.
And yeah, it's been full of hardship, and just recently I obtained this pact that has promised me both fame and wealth. So I heard about Bartholomew's shop, and I've come to test my new abilities.
Absolutely. I can imagine few better places in which to gain fame and wealth than among the adventurers of Bartholomew's adventuring troupe. So I imagine you will have much luck. And I'm sorry to hear that you grew up on the streets, but it seems like you're much like Greenie was, or kind of rising above the circumstances of the beginning of your life. How old are you now, Goat? Because I know bunnyfolk tend to have very short lifespans.
Oh, no, that's not true. I'm 5.
5 years old. So you're kind of coming into your own as an adult at this point, yes?
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Well, Goat, welcome. It's good to have you tonight.
Thank you.
Next up, we have a veteran, a recently level 3 veteran. We have Sarah Galanodel. Sarah, welcome.
Hey.
Sarah, you sound a little bit tired.
I haven't slept in 3 days.
That's a very interesting statement. Any particular reason why?
I went on a massive quest But at the end of it, I finally discovered the weakness of Jeremy.
Oh, and what was that?
Lactose intolerant.
uh, this is indeed one of his great weak points. I was sworn never to reveal such a thing, but how did you come across this information?
You know that beholder at the end of my sister's
Crest,
last
yes.
adventure. Yeah. He was the one who told Switch about this quest for this information.
Well, he has revealed some dark secrets indeed, but is such a big fan of Pete and Jeremy, it's no surprise that he was able to that he had it to begin with. But Sarah, I also was interested. Now, of course, I know what your title is, but have you revealed that unto the world as of yet, or is that something that you've been kind of holding back?
I don't. What?
Perhaps I'm imagining things then. Pay no attention to the voice behind the curtain, so to speak.
Yes, I don't. You don't get titles until level 4.
Oh yes, but I know.
Mysterious thing is.
I know, several adventurers, and many of them sort of have an idea of what they hope to someday be called. And of course, it's not the adventurer that chooses the title; it is, the people, or I suppose, at least in some cases.
I mean, technically, no. Let's talk real talk for a second. There, mysterious voice, Pete. Technically, I won't be whatever my title is until 5th level when I leave.
See that, and this is the reason why I had asked my particular question.
Although I did die and come back to life, so there's that.
So there's that, which is, of course, a harrowing experience, and I imagine that
yes.
has.
Do you see how messed up my face is with the triangle scar?
And maybe Bartholomew can do something about that one day, or perhaps you'd prefer to keep it as a reminder of what has happened.
I feel like I talked to Bartholomew about it, and he said he liked the way it looked.
That's a brutal response, but unfortunately, there's nothing I can do, of course. I don't know Bartholomew personally. So, Sarah, welcome. It is good to have you back tonight.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we have returning a Floran.
Yep.
Sunny, welcome.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit green today.
A little bit green. What do you mean by that, Sunny?
Greener than usual. I'm a little sick. I got the flower flu. It goes around this time of year.
The flower flu. I'm really sorry to hear that you're a bit under the weather, Sunny. What are kind of like the symptoms of the flower flu?
Well, we kind of wilt a little bit. Our voice changes,
Yes, I suppose in a lot of ways it's similar to most sort of non-sort of plant-based life. Has very similar symptoms when they get sick with the flu. So anyway, Sunny, I'm sorry to hear you're not feeling well. Has it kind of dampened your spirits at all moving into this festival season?
No, the sun still loves me, so we're cool.
Yes, and Sunny, you have, in many ways, a little bit of a scary past. Of course, Sunny, you have spent some time in jail, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Now, Sunny, as we're kind of moving around out here, is Sunny still wanted by the forces that had kind of locked him up in the first place? Because I believe you escaped, if I remember. Yes.
Yeah, I kind of escaped. People don't like me. Some people, but I don't know. We don't like to talk about it.
Okay, fair enough. I can't possibly imagine why. I mean, you're so cheerful in your disposition, Sunny.
I am.
Yes. Well, I hope that your flu clears up. And without further ado, let us hop into our first adventure of the Carnival of Souls. So, where we begin, you find yourselves near the base of the Slumbering Spine. It is a massive mountain range in the southern regions of the land of DnDTime, and the mountains itself, they sort of heave upwards and downwards as if the breath of a great titan. As you're kind of walking into this space, you can see in the distance and hear the sound of children kind of speaking and laughing. You see various monks in kind of their full monk regalia walking around. The place that you are approaching is a charity fundraiser being put on by Bartholomew. For those of you unaware, Bartholomew, of course, performs some kind of charitable event every year during the Carnival of Souls season, and the name of this year's event is Bartholomew Says Dreams Come True Charity Fundraiser. As you're walking around the space, you can see various Dream Walker monks, the kind of sect of monks that protect the plane of dreams, going about just kind of providing security for the event. And specifically, as Bartholomew's Adventures, you're all aware that this particular event is for unfortunate children, which was a very broad scope, and it's pretty impressive that they've decided to take it on. But you can see various kind of carnival activities being prepared. There are kind of sections with games, and all of these children have been kind of brought to this location to get away from whatever worries that they have and just have a lot of fun. There's candy everywhere, delicious foods, and just a very kind of positive, positive vibe as the sun is kind of slowly starting to set. The sun is turning the kind of bright kind of oranges and yellows of twilight taking over the space. And you now kind of enter into the kind of carnival grounds. As you're stepping into this space, over in the distance, you can see the location that you know that you're being called to. A small makeshift village has been set up for a very common Carnival of Souls tradition, scare or snacking, where children go to houses and well, if they're able to get away from them without being frightened, then they receive a snack, or otherwise they get nothing. Bartholomew has requested that you walk to this location. But where we begin, you're just kind of walking about the area where this fundraiser is being set up, and you're seeing the unfortunate children kind of running around. There's mixes of some of them that look happy, others are just kind of like still sulking and very sad, kind of just walking around, and the monks are going about just kind of standing, providing security at the event, it looks like. Yeah, that is where we officially begin. What do you guys do? Do you guys just head straight for the place that Bartholomew has called you to? He said he was going to meet you there, or do you kind of, walk around the carnival a little bit first, or what do you do?
Sarah, being very straightforward, is going to go straight for the place that Bartholomew told them to meet.
Okay. Very well. Everyone kind of follows along.
I walk to the table for the unfortunate children.
All right. Yes, there are kind of a registration that's being kind of set up as you walk in, and you see a Dream Walker monk kind of sitting behind it, specifically the leader of the Dream Walkers, kind of an elderly woman by the name of Soam, who looks up to you and just, it is good to see you today. You are one of Bartholomew's adventurers, no? It is great to have them helping out with the charity. Such a great cause for the unfortunate children here. What can I do for you? Well,
I'm also an unfortunate child. I'm only age 5, and I'm a little sick, so yeah, give me stuff. I want free stuff.
Oh, well, that is certainly okay. Go ahead and make me a persuasion check. I think this is, you can choose if this is persuasion or deception, and just be up to whether or not you're being, you believe yourself or not.
Okay, let's go persuasion.
Okay. Persuasion, she kind of looks you up and down for a moment. I don't know about that. Bartholomew's Adventurers, well, you're here working the event, I believe. I don't think we can't roll out the red carpet for you. We need you here to work, really. But if you're an unfortunate child, you should get something. I don't want you to not have any fun. Here, go over to that booth right there. And tell them that I told you could have candy. I don't care how much of it you take, but candy, it's all yours. It's
awesome, awesome. Sonny walks over and grabs the whole bowl of candy and just walks away.
The kind of Dreamwalker, excuse me, and Soam looks at him, it's fine, we have so much candy, it's fine. And you grab yourself a bowl of candy, and kind of join up with everyone else as you're walking along the space. Of course, when you kind of left, Bartholomew left the note to meet here at this time back in the adventurer's shop. Since it's this big kind of charity event, a lot of adventurers were getting kind of assignments around the place. He didn't have time because he was setting it up. But there was also a There was also kind of a bowl on the counter there that said, take one. Two of those bowls filled with sort of magic items for people to grab. Did any of you, by now, of course, they're all gone, but did any of you get a chance to grab one of the powerful magic items from either of the Take One bowls, or from both of the Take One bowls, really?
Both.
Yeah.
What did you guys end up taking? I'm curious.
I took this bow and arrow.
Ooh.
Bow and arrow. I
Yeah,
also
the
took
kind of
the
skeleton one.
staff. It makes weird sounds like this.
But of course, the staff of bird calls and the bone and marrow. What about everyone else? Did everyone get a chance to take a couple of magic items?
I also took a heavy crossbone and marrow.
Ooh. And did you choose a common as well?
Yes, Horn of Silent Alarm.
Oh, that's a very fun one. I like that one quite a bit. Wonderful. What about you? What about you, Sarah?
The other Galanodel children got there first.
I'm sorry. It was such fierce competition. Bartholomew needs to remember to make a few more next year. What about you, Goat? Did you get a chance to grab anything?
No, not yet. Because can I still grab something?
Yes, absolutely. Just which two items did you want? Have you already had a chance to peruse the list?
I was looking at this helmet that makes my eyes glow.
Oh yes, the Dread Helm. And then there was from the list of 4 as well. Did you pick one of the more powerful ones for Halloween?
No. I picked also the Cloak of Billowing.
You were supposed to pick. We'll talk about it later.
I can only do one. Okay.
You can only do one of those ones, and then one of the first 4 was the idea.
I'll just take the one then.
Okay, and if you decide afterwards, just message me and we'll get it to you later. So you're kind of continuing down the main thoroughfare, walking over towards the little, what looks like a makeshift village that has been put together here at the base of the mountain, erected very quickly. And you see something kind of running at you, and the thing that's running at you, you see 3 of those monks before, chasing sort of exhausted after what looks like a table, but the table has kind of a big mouth on the side of it, very much in the kind of style of a mimic, and it's kind of making some very odd thrashing noises, and it's like running down the street at you pretty aggressively at the moment. And it's kind of moving down the street towards you. The legs are kind of clacking on the cobblestone that's been erected here, and this seemingly sentient and angry table is running at the 4 of you. What do you guys do?
You look hungry.
I'd like
You want
to
some
shoot a
candy?
laser at it.
Roll for initiative.
I throw some candy at it.
Okay, yeah, you toss candy out in front, like right as things are starting. You kind of like throw it in front of it, but it like jumps forward and like grabs at it and kind of bites into it, and it seems to absorb into the wood, and it keeps running straight at you. Oh wait,
You're a hungry fellow.
Gotta do that public. In that case, the first to act is actually going to be you. Sonny. What do you want to do?
Here, have some oil. You look really hungry.
Oh dear. 14 hits. You toss the little, what is it, kind of like a glass container of oil. It scatters and spreads over the table. It now has kind of this slick coating on it. Anything else on your turn?
Oh yeah, it's a hex too.
Okay. And as a bonus action, you cast the hex spell. Very good.
I'm
the table.
gonna hex his strength.
Okay, great. In that case, that's going to bring us then to Greenie. What do you want to do, Greenie?
Well, I got this bow and arrow. Might as well shoot it.
All right, go ahead and make me an attack roll.
Oh, I missed.
9 does miss. The arrow kind of reflects harmlessly off the top of the table. You hear the one of the monks from the back call out, "Stop that creature!" Anything else on your turn, Greenie?
I'm gonna move out of the way.
Okay. That is going to bring us then to the table's turn, which you kind of like step to the side, Greenie, and it Actually, no. It's probably going to go after. I imagine you're kind of. It seems like you were taking the vanguard to a degree here, Sarah, as you had kind of like gone up to shoot this laser immediately. You were very decisive, so I think it's going to come after you, and it's going to. Oh wait, why does it not have any bonus to hit? That is odd. Hold on a second. Let me just. There we go. Oh wow.
What?
Roll the 19. It runs at you, and the table slams into you. I need you to make me a strength saving throw. Oh, and as it hits you, the table kind of like broadsides you with the top of it, and it kind of takes you down to the ground. And then the table, as you fall prone, and the table kind of lands on top of you, and you see its mouth kind of like there's some splinters of wood that seem to be coming around where like the teeth are forming on this thing, and just it goes down to try and start like biting at you, but that's all it can do on its first turn. And that brings us to, I believe it is now your turn, Sarah.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand up and laser it.
All right, go ahead and make me an attack roll. You're in melee at the moment, so is this a ranged attack, I assume?
Yeah, go ahead and make an up attack.
Okay, you're gonna step away. It is going to hit you. This is not going to do the damage that it does. Okay, yeah.
Okay. So I jump back and in midair.
Radical. All right, that definitely hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
Ignore the second set, but keep
Yes.
in mind that I'm going to be adding a lot of numbers. It's 19 plus 2.
21 points of damage as you kind of kick off the table, standing up from being knocked over.
Fire damage.
But of course,
But ignores resistance.
as you kind of pull back out of the, as you kind of push off the table and jump backwards, you shoot a bolt of, I hit something behind me. I just got too animated. You shoot a bolt of flame at the table, which ignites in a big kind of pile of flame, which is now just, it's kind of like snarling in the space and moving around. It's not quite down
That takes
yet.
5 extra
He
damage.
took 5 fire
And-
damage from the oil I threw earlier.
Oh, yes! That is, so close that it's still not quite enough
And
to
the
take out.
hex damage?
Oh yeah, heck.
The hex damage I counted.
Okay. And then, as a bonus action, I pop open an energy drink.
Oh,
and drink
wonderful. Yeah, you pop a quick energy drink and heal for 6 points as we now move on in the initiative to Goat. What would you like to do? There's a flaming table in front of you. It looks a bit intimidating as it's just kind of snarling and burning up. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna charge it and kick it in half.
All right, go ahead and make me an attack roll. Oh, damn! Natural 20. Go ahead and roll damage on that for me. If you don't know how to do that already, you just click the word Iron Boot where it came up in chat. Awesome. Another 12 points of bludgeoning damage. Yeah, you kick it in half. As you kind of come into the space, you leap forward, your iron boots crash into the table, and it splits in two. And as it does, you watch the table kind of coalesce. The flames on it suddenly go out, and the table sort of turns into something odd. It looks a little bit like it looks a little bit like shadow that the table has kind of become, and it's just these now kind of wisps of black shadow that are floating around in the space, and they're making odd noises, just kind of and the kind of three monks that were following in pursuit, as they get up, one of them kind of yells out, "Be gone, nightmare!" And throws kind of a punch through it, and the creature dissipates into just kind of a wisp of shadow, with one last kind of gasp of breath as it just kind of vanishes into the wind. And the three monks kind of look at you. Thank you very much. You are Bartholomew's adventurers, yes?
That's us.
No, we're lost children.
Well, I'm
Child.
aware that...
You want some candy? I want some candy. Do you have candy?
I think I have a couple pieces on me, and he pulls out like a wrapped hard candy. Here you go.
Sir
You
takes
see,
it.
maybe I have one more. He goes and hands it to Sunny.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's been... security around here has been difficult. These nightmares are popping up. Of course, it doesn't happen often. It's a fairly rare cycle where such nightmares are able to cross into the material plane in this way. But it's been a hard time dealing with all of them. Of course, that's why Bartholomew hired us. We're the experts on the matter. That table must have been someone's nightmare. Can't imagine what unfortunate kid is afraid of a table. But strange thing.
For academic purposes, are these nightmares undead?
They are certainly not undead. They are something else entirely. Beings composed of the pure sort of shadow of the nightmare realm.
Aberrations.
Well, I'm a cleric. I can't help with that then.
Well, of course, I know Bartholomew has other plans for you. Him and Soam are doing an excellent job on this event, and, well, we appreciate your work. We have our own jobs to do, so I suppose we'll get going. They nod to you, kind of bow, and move on and back to their posts, wherever those are. And you are kind of able to continue your way towards your destination, which is the house that Bartholomew wanted you to go to.
Does the candy heal me for 1 health?
Unfortunately, it does not. It is just a mundane piece of candy. It is licorice flavored.
Bye, Monk Man. You're very nice. See you later.
Farewell, Flower. And you kind of continue forward, and in the distance, as you're getting closer now to the house, you can see Bartholomew. The wizard is kind of clad in still his robes, but they look a little bit cleaner than his robes normally are. But he himself has less posture than his normally already bad posture is. As he's sloping, his eyes are like kind of half closed. He looks absolutely exhausted. And he looks over, sitting next to him, you see a gnome, specifically a gnome by the name of Roger, wearing his glasses. He's wearing a Hawaiian shirt, cargo shorts. You see he's got a suitcase and he's got flip-flops with socks on. And Roger is standing there next to Bartholomew.
All right, everyone. Well, Bartholomew, I'm going to be taking off now. You know, it's my annual vacation.
Bye, Roderick.
Yes, Roger, of course, you are mandated one vacation, much to my chagrin. Well, it is, I hope you have fun. Where are you going this year, Roger?
I'm heading to Turtle Island down on the Crimson Coast. It's beautiful this time of year. All the turtles kind of just dancing around. Apparently, it's a big celebration they have every year.
Yeah, I've heard it's very lovely there. Roger, so, very good. I hope you wish you the best. And Bartholomew, you see, like, very tentatively reaches over a folded envelope, and your Carnival of Souls bonus.
Yep, I'll take it. See you later. And with that, Roger runs off.
Wait, Roger, wait.
Yeah, what?
Wait a minute, I'm Greenie. I hold out my hand.
Hi. He shakes your hand.
Hi. I'm looking at you intensely. Damn it! I forget the poison doesn't work. Yeah, you enjoy your vacation.
That handshake was a little uncomfortably long, little frog
Yeah,
man.
no, it's fine. I'll do that to everyone. Watch. Hey, Bartholomew. Shake my hand.
Bye.
Roderick.
What do you want? What do you want? Sarah, I'm literally on my vacation now.
Yes, but that wouldn't happen to be Jeremy narrating your actions, are they?
Roger runs away.
He's, well, there he goes. I give him a hard time, but he's good at his job. So, and I hope that...
Sarah reaches out and puts her hand on Bartholomew's shoulder. Are you? Bartholomew? Are you doing all right?
I'm very tired. It has been I have so much work I've been doing on the thing. What is this? Bartholomew says it's a dream. I can't remember what I called it. I have work for you. Can you help me? You see, and he kind of starts gesturing around to the houses that are set up in something of a cul-de-sac. There's a circle of what looks like hastily erected. There's not a lot of quality in the construction of the houses, but they are houses, and a lot of them have been made to look very sort of spooky. And Bartholomew says, the houses here, we put them together for scare or snacking. The unfortunate children go around and they get candy by... Well, you have to scare them, and if you scare them, they don't get candy, and if you can't scare them, they do. I've spent so much money on this thing. I am not giving out a piece of candy I do not have to give out. So I want you to go in that house. I have adventurers in some of them. Let the Dream Walkers give out the candy. We draw a line in the sand here. I want you to make it the scariest possible haunted house that any child has ever gone through.
Okay.
Okay. And I blow my horn of silent alarm so that only he can hear me.
He kind of puts his hands over his ears and goes, I already regret putting those in the bowls. Please don't do it again, please, Sonny. He looks absolutely exhausted and like he's at his wit's end. It looks like that horn of silent alarm almost broke Bartholomew in this moment.
How far can we go to, scare the children?
That's an excellent question. The answer is any means necessary outside of physical harm. And he hands each of you...
To the children or just anyone generally?
It's only anyone who comes scare snacking.
So if I found a guy and killed him and set up a murder scene in this house to scare the children, and he wasn't associated with this event?
If he was unassociated with the event, and I don't think there's anyone here unassociated with the event, it's pretty high security, but if you find someone and you kill them, well, let me say this way, you can't do that, and he winks at you.
Yeah, I can't do that.
And to make it a little bit, well, most of the kids are real pushovers. I don't think you'll have a hard time, but I did some cursory research, and these are going to be the troublemakers. And he hands you 3 elaborate dossiers of 3 kids that are apparently real tough guys when it comes to haunted houses, and like a list of like every personal bit of information about them, things like fears, weaknesses that Bartholomew has put together for these children. And he hands them to each of you. Or he has 3 of them in total.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So, make sure that, like I said, I think you'll get most of them. These ones are going to be the troublemakers. This one surprised me a little bit. And there's, he hands you one that says, just a kid by the name of Timmy. And he is just very, he's just very kind of, squeamish looking. And he's got kind of, a pale face and, big round glasses. But the other 2 do look like very self-confident children. He goes, look out for these ones, but everyone else, I trust you, especially that dead body thing. Jesus. Which, of course, you can't do. Wink.
I'm going to read through them and see if either of the 3 dossiers he's handed us mention anything about fears of fire.
Yeah, there is, kind of going through the dossiers, there's absolutely, there's one boy who's very kind of, he's a little bit on the, he looks big just from the picture, and the height lists him. He's only 5 years old, but he's already listed at about 4.5 feet tall, so he's a very, very big 5-year-old, and he just looks kind of, he just looks kind of like brutish is the word I would use for him, and kind of in the dossier you get the vibe that he's had a little bit of a hard time. He's definitely an unfortunate child, but also he's like a real bully, and not a lot of the other kids are liking him, and that's what you get off of this particular one. And on that list, there was mention of kind of a traumatic kind of childhood experience where he was kind of rescued from a burning building during a fire at one point. Additionally, he also has an intense fear of dogs, you learn, and he's not too great with snakes either.
Is anyone afraid of frogs?
Or rabbits.
Yeah, there's no one that's specifically afraid of frogs and rabbits. The kid who was a little bit kind of squeamish looking, apparently his big thing is he's afraid of the dark. And then the other one, there's a girl on there who kind of has hair kind of long, blonde and kind of pulled back. And apparently she is kind of reading over the list. She has a fear of a couple of things as well. And her big thing is, one, she doesn't like loud noises. And two, she also kind of struggles in confined spaces. So both of those things for these two kids. And you're looking at it now and you're getting man, this is vicious, Bartholomew.
Now, I'm afraid of slimy things.
The girl definitely does not like slimy things is the vibe that you get, but not not terrible. And the other kid definitely does not like slimy things. He does not like slimy things.
Okay.
Alright, you probably want to move Switch back in here.
Oh, what happened to Switch? And Bartholomew says, so, use the information at your disposal. You also have to make things from things that are generally scary, of course. There's going to be hundreds of kids that go through here. But I will leave you to it. If you need any supplies, request them over there. And there's a kind of what looks like just there's just a Dream Walker monk over there that has a station set up with all sorts of miscellaneous sort of Halloween, kind of classical Halloween decorations. Yeah, you are left with one of these houses. You see other people going about setting up their own houses right now. He says you have about an hour to get ready. How do you guys decorate this terrible haunted house?
Oh. Well, I go to the requisitions gal.
Hello! What do you need for your haunted house?
Do you have any cadavers?
Yeah, right here. And he pulls out kind of a paper mache body. It is horribly unrealistic.
Do you have any real cadavers?
That's funny. No.
I'll give him sort of an odd look and blink one eye at a time.
Oh.
No,
That's not funny.
we don't have any real cadavers. And he looks now a little bit confused and scared.
Oh, man, alright,
So we need to make a tunnel that's dark and cramped and filled with snakes and fire.
Okay. Druid
well,
crap.
the fire is really gonna screw up the darkness.
I make a I make a tunnel full of a dark tunnel. There we go. With plants and shit.
Does anyone have black fire?
I can create bonfires. Look. Oh.
I have requisitions. Do you have fake blood?
I have
fake blood. We got tons of, yeah. And he hands you a big kind of 20-gallon jug of the stuff. It's corn syrupy, but fake blood, pretty realistic looking. They did a good job on it.
Hey, any of you ever seen that play, Sherry, where they pour pig blood all over the Warlock girl who had made a pact with the Great Old One? What if we did that to the kids?
Oh, jeez.
But, I guess we gotta use fake blood. Wait, are there pigs?
I'd recommend that as a last resort for the less squeamish ones. The ones who are brave enough to make it through the tunnel first.
Alright.
That way we're not wasting time.
We don't have any pigs. We don't have any pigs here, but this is a farming community nearby. There's probably a pig you could buy if that's really what you want to do.
That seems really far.
It's you have an hour. You could get there and get a pig. It'd probably take most of your time if that's what you want to do.
Should I go get a pig? I'm not a big pig. I need a lot of blood. We could set up a pretty impressive murder scene with that much blood, though.
Do you have pumpkins? I want pumpkins.
Pumpkins we got tons of. Thank you for that request.
How about any other plant life? You have any other plants? I'm just gonna
plants?
take all your plants.
We have lots of ivy and vines.
Yeah, give them to me. Just
Okay.
give me all your plants.
Just all of them we got, so okay.
I gotta free all my friends. Give me your plants.
Oh, okay. And he hands you a whole bunch of vines, like 30 pumpkins. They're all kind of. Do you want them carved or uncarved?
No! How dare you try to carve a pumpkin? What did the pumpkin do to you?
It's a jack-o'-lantern. It's a traditional Carnival of Souls decoration. Okay, I'm sorry. And he just hands you a whole bunch of uncarved pumpkins and kind of like vines and stuff. A lot of the vines aren't actually like, they're not real vines. They're like plastic vines that are kind of stretched out to be kind of garnishing for railings and stuff like that.
Oh, I'm a frog. I can throw out my stomach.
Pumpkins are definitely real pumpkins, though. Oh, Jesus. Wait, what was that?
I'm a frog. I can throw out my stomach. Will that help?
I quickly look around at our group and see generally who the most intimidating would be.
That's for y'all to decide, but to be fair, your group is a tiny, cute frog, a bunny rabbit, a sunflower, and you.
A frog,
I got
a rabbit, a flower, and me.
Yeah. Which, now that I have that mental image, is absolutely delightful that's your adventuring party.
We're the most
So we have a tiny frog, a tiny rabbit, a tiny flower, and then a tall half-elf with like a crushed skull with a triangular scar. I think I'm the most intimidating, guys.
Hey, have you met my friend, the sun? He's really scary.
I don't know. I have this helmet and a lot of anger issues.
That's true. He does have a very intimidating helmet with like the dread helm has the eyes glowing a bright red within.
We're not talking about charisma stats here. We're talking about looks, and you guys don't look intimidating.
Well, no, I was saying he's got the dread helm with the red glowing eyes coming from the rabbit.
Yeah.
As he says that, I make the most terrifying growing the pumpkins out as much as I can with the druidcraft and making just this intense like maze of vines.
Sarah is a girl.
Okay, so you're making so you're at this point, I feel like Sunny has just kind of wandered off with your huge pile of pumpkins, and within the within kind of like the first room of the house, when you kind of reconvene and see in there's all these pumpkins everywhere. They're unnaturally large, and the vines have like reached up and are now kind of like covering the walls, and while there were plastic vines and you can see some of those mixed in, like real vines have started to like grow out of the pumpkins, and they kind of like move around and like whip in the space as you've made like a very kind of a very unpleasant, like you think it's not like in particularly scary looking at it in the daylight, but once you get like the right night lighting, you can just barely see it, all of these things kind of like squirming into space, it's definitely going to be scary.
Alright, that's spooky. Alright.
So that's probably going to be most of your time spent is building that, Sunny. So what's everyone else want to kind of like devote their time to?
Hey, Requisitions guy, in your professional opinion, because I'm assuming you're a professional at this, what is the scariest thing you have?
I really don't like this thing. And you see he kind of pulls out from the back. It's just, it is a skeleton in full, it looks like a skeleton that one would use in like biology class, but it's been dressed in a full kind of clown garb that's a little bit see-through, so you can still see the skeleton, and it has like just really awful clown makeup that's been like hand painted on it. I don't know who brought this in, but hoping someone wouldn't take it, and no one has.
Yeah, I'll take that. You got any snakes?
Fake ones.
Yeah, I'll work with it.
Throws a bunch of rubber snakes.
Alright.
Person, do you have a Bartholomew?
I don't know if we have any of those, but I can go and check for you. I think if I ask Bartholomew, he has a few that he can just get, so, yeah, that's something that you can probably get. It only has the one. It only has one voice line, but
Bartholomew bot in Bartholomew's repertoire.
Yeah, so you can get a scary Bartholomew bot.
I'm going to.
Children, are you here to drink more candy?
I'm gonna spend my time filling a couple of the pumpkins with fake blood, and then I'm gonna hide.
Wonderful. Are you guys doing any kind of costuming for yourselves for this? I mean, you already have the dread helm, but
I'm gonna put on my scariest floral costume.
I'll dump blood all over me.
Okay, brutal. And
hey, what else you got that scary costume stuff, kid?
And I still have my little mustache and goatee from before, so I look kind of a little bit scary.
Excellent. We got like everything for costumes, and I'm 40.
Wow.
I just
Well, that's unfortunate.
Sarah is a death domain cleric with a rapier with a skull hilt that drips blood, and she hasn't slept in 2 days.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you're not getting a costume?
I mean, we can make you look more skeletal.
Yeah, I can do makeup. I'm actually pretty good.
Oh, yeah, do makeup. Make me into, like, I'm covered in blood.
Yeah, I don't want to do makeup on you, because then my hands will get corn syrup all over them.
Oh, wait, no, that's a great idea. Do touch me and put your handprints everywhere.
And he does so begrudgingly. You're almost out of time. Any other kind of last-minute things? I'll assume that you guys are doing, like, the dark tunnel thing.
Yeah.
You have the vine room. You are very well hidden at the moment, Goat. You're kind of waiting to pop out of whatever dark corner. And you have, at the end, I imagine where the candy bowl is, you have set up this Bartholomew bot, which...
I have advantage because
Bartholomew bot is at the front.
Oh, first thing?
Yeah.
I have all these snakes and this creepy skeleton. I think the skeleton can go by the bowl. And then I'll put some of the snakes, maybe chop off some of their heads, and like attach them to the wriggling vines.
Sarah's gonna be at the end of the tunnel towards the candy, as also last resort because Sarah has some thaumaturgy to be going on.
Can we put snakes in the candy bowl too? Yes, no?
Sure.
Was there a restriction on putting things in the candy?
No, there wasn't. Bartholomew it's not even real candy. Bartholomew just put fake candy, assuming your success. And there's like a hidden chest that's like locked up. He told you like in case of emergency there is candy, but.
Okay. Sonny takes that bowl of candy from before and sets it out.
Very good. You do so. You set up the thing, and I think everyone's kind of in places at this point. You have like the dark tunnel first, and yeah, you have the. That's about it.
By the way, whenever I was hiding right in the florals, so I'm like in the floral room, in the crafted room.
Okay, cool. In that case, the sun kind of slowly sets until there's just the barest kind of hints of nighttime, and you hear kind of the head of the Dream Walker monk, Soam, kind of walks into the square. All right, everybody, the children are here. We are going to begin the scare or snacking. It is going to be such fun. No, you. They're already making some Halloween scary jokes. That is so fun, children. All right, have fun now. And there's just a huge kind of crowd of children that are kind of moving around, and they all begin just walking about. There's some kind of excited giggles as they start running around and going to different houses. And yeah, it is time for the scare or snacking. And the thing that you have created is truly a gauntlet. Go ahead and everyone make me a performance check in order to show me just like how effective your particular brand of scaring is.
Performance or intimidation?
Intimidation also works for sure.
Oh.
If anyone would have been better at that, you can add that bonus instead.
Here, I'll do intimidation instead.
And I'm also curious, how long are we supposed to scare these kids? Because if it's only for an hour, I would have cast a spell.
It's gonna be for like a couple of hours, but it's not like crazy long. It's a little bit over an hour.
Specifically 2 hours?
Specifically 2 hours.
Okay. Then I'll have 2 spell slots, and I'll do on Frosty, since they have the highest intimidation, Eagle's Splendor, which means that they have advantage on charisma checks.
Wonderful.
Enhance ability. Good spell.
Okay, awesome. In that case, I will just give you that 23.
Mm-hmm.
And very good. You you kind of begin your evening. Children kind of move through the first sort of dark tunnel that you have set up. There isn't not a lot of kids get kind of turned off, get messed up by the dark tunnel. It doesn't get too many of them. There's a few that look at it. You can tell there's some that see inside of it and decide, no, I'm not even going to bother with this one. But most kids going to get through the dark tunnel, and then they move into the sort of scary vine room, in which stands the first line of defense, which I believe is you, Sunny.
Yep.
What does it look like when you scare one of the kids in this room? Like, how do you like emerge from the shadows to like come out and grab them?
I just kind of pop out of the vines that I'm just like hiding inside, and I just kind of emerge from underneath the vines and just go rawr.
Yes, you get actually a pretty good amount of the kids. As they get to this point, you kind of hop out of the vines, and this like weird kind of flower, I imagine there's some makeup to make you look a little bit scary, just seems to like absorb out of the floor. And a lot of the kids, you hear lots of ah! You hear one kid just, I hate sunflowers, and which was a little bit hurtful, but also very effective. And there was just, overall, you get kind of quite a few of them. And as they step past you, they're looking at all these kind of like bloody pumpkins and all of these kind of strange combinations of things that one might not necessarily think a bloody pumpkin is scary until like the weird like sunflower creature kind of emerges from it all of a sudden. And then we have the next line of defense, which is Goat. And Goat, what's your scaring strategy?
I jump out of the shadows wearing nothing but the dread helm, and I start kicking the blood pumpkins so they explode and firing random eldritch blasts into the air.
Geez. You kind of just, the eyes of the dread helm alight in the darkness, and you see kind of one of the older kids that was walking by, who kind of was looking around, walks past Sunny, completely unaffected by Sunny, just not what scared this individual. But then the red eyes appear in the darkness, and this girl just kind of and kind of like turns and runs, and kind of looks back in shock at the flashes of light from the eldritch blast as they go back. And that was one of your finer moments, although quite a few people end up getting scared by that. By your 23, and then they move next into the kind of the blood chamber, which is what exactly is your chainer again, Greenie? Did you end up getting a pig?
Did I have time?
Oh yeah, you had time to get a pig if you wanted.
Oh yeah, there's a slaughtered pig.
A lot of kids just walk into this room.
And I'm like bent over it with my horrifying razor-sharp grung teeth, like tearing into it. Not really swallowing any of it, but...
a lot of the kids walk into this space, like, the smell is very much really the smell of a horribly slaughtered pig, and a lot of the kids, as they walk in, they just like they just vomit in the space, and very few kids make it beyond this point, and that only gets worse as the night goes on, as that smell gets worse. And
yeah, especially since I'm spitting out dead pigs.
Oh god. And then the last, the few kids, like, those kids were definitely scared that walked past you, but they just kind of, like, power walked without looking and kind of just basically avoided your visage as they went past you. Bringing us last to Sarah, what's your move?
Yeah, so they're like walking past that terrifying visage, and immediately after they walk past, just as they're passing by, I cast Thaumaturgy the first round, which causes whispers slowly in the background, haunting their every step.
It seems to come almost from their own heads, I imagine, or you use it.
You do not belong here. Turn back.
You get one kind of kid who's kind of like has had their eyes closed through a lot of this, which is how they got through, and now you hear them just kind of what's like the big finisher.
And then the second round of Thaumaturgy is harmless tremors in the ground. Specifically harmless.
I just want candy. I just wanted the candy.
And then, is there like doors or windows? Because I would have those shut.
Yeah, the doors and windows they slam shut. And then what's the big line? I assume there's a big line.
Flames everywhere.
The flames kind of light up in the room, kind of showing your visage now, which was kind of at the center of it. The candy bowl, the reward behind you, unable to even be seen as they move into the last chamber. Do you have a line, or are you just silent and just look scary?
I'm silent, look scary, and then I say, "Go back now." They're not just normal flames; they're obviously greenish purple flames.
Mm-hmm. And they do. They go back immediately. And the few kids that have made it to your kind of part of the gauntlet do not pass beyond that point. And then one in particularly troublesome kid kind of comes along. The first of them, the one who's the bully kind of archetypal kid, who walks up and he moves in. You hear kind of some sound of some scuffling as they're moving through the first kind of dark tunnel. You hear him just kind of go, lame. You're such a baby. And you see kind of where you guys are hiding in the first chamber. He kind of pushes one of the kind of kids that's along on the side and kind of walks past him. Hasn't been a house that has scared me yet. Let's see if these chumps are any better. Idiots. So dumb. I hate this event. He kind of walks into the space, into the first kind of pumpkin room. He goes, "Pumpkins? What am I, 3?" He's 4, if you remember.
What was his deal again? What was he afraid of?
This was the kid that was afraid of fire and dogs and snakes.
Oh, good. I set up snakes.
All right, so yeah, he kind of moves past the first kind of section. Sonny, you come out and scare him. Do anything different?
I make the vines look kind of like slithering snakes slithering around.
All right, make me an intimidation check with advantage. And what are you going to be doing, Goat, for this kid?
I'm just doing the same thing.
I'm going to I'll change it up for this kid. I'm going to fill my mouth with pumpkin guts so it looks all frothy, and then I'm going to go out on all fours and I'm going to start barking at him.
All right, also make me an intimidation check with advantage as you identify your mark. All right. Yeah, he kind of gets past you. He kind of gets past you, Sonny, and he's like, "Stupid vines, don't even care. This is supposed to be scary." And he gets to the next, the kind of rabid rabbit that's barking like a dog at him. And just, you see, kind of like goes to the side. Just, it's not even realistic. It's a rabbit, and he kind of like walks past you. But he's visibly shaken as he moves beyond you, that he moves on past your room into the next sort of chamber where you are standing next in the gauntlet. Greenie, what do you do, Greenie?
Did I know he was coming in particular?
You could tell by the barking dog noises that you'd found your first mark for sure.
So I've had a bucket, right? I've set up. I'm sort of like somewhere up above. As soon as he enters the room, I dump a bucket full of fake snakes on him.
Intimidation check with advantage. He goes, and he kind of like runs, brushes the snakes off his head, and he goes, "Oh God, that smell!" And he just starts kind of running past you into the next chamber. Now, kind of like sprinting at the top of his lungs, sprinting as fast as he can into the final chamber where stands his final opponent, Sarah. You have 2 successes thus far, and you stand there, and I imagine the flames alight as he moves in. You do anything special?
Mm-hmm. Fire snakes and fire dogs.
Oh yeah, they
double up on it.
Go ahead and make an intimidation check once again with advantage.
All right, here we go.
Yeah. The flames alight, and this child just... and he just turns, and you see him kind of run back through. He kind of like slips on some of the rubber snakes as he's running his way back out. Goes through, back past the barking dog, and he like pushes kids aside and knocks them over. Some kids just like, baby, as he's running out. And you have successfully taken down your first difficult mark, and the next follows soon after. You see that girl kind of walking through. She's not really paying much attention to anything even. Right now, it appears that she is just kind of like, it seems like she has some kind of like ball and cup game that she had, and she's just kind of like flipping it and walking through without even looking at any of the stuff. She walks into the kind of the first chamber where Sunny... she was afraid of loud noises and also of open spaces. Or I'm sorry, confined spaces.
Okay. Well, Sunny's going to make sure that all the vines are extremely, extremely tightly placed, you know, so where, like, she has to, like, walk into a wall in order to, like, not, you know, so it's really confined.
Okay. Yeah, she kind of, like, is just looking at the ball and cup, and as she hits the vines, you don't need to make a check for this. She kind of, like, and kind of starts sidling along the vines, and she's obviously very rattled. We get next to you just get that one for free. We get next to Goat. What do you do?
I don't have anything specific for her, so I'm just gonna start jumping 15 feet into the air while screaming.
Make an intimidation check with advantage. Loud noises. Yeah, she is absolutely terrified as you're doing this, and as she's sidling along kind of the inside of it, you just hear her start going, nope, 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 and just starts moving kind of backwards out the vines. It seems not as kind of difficult a mark as one was led to believe initially. Well, the first kid was definitely pretty tough. And you only have one kind of hard mark remaining, that kind of very kind of sickly and thin-looking boy who you see kind of approaching, and you hear kind of one of the kids going, "Come on, Sheldon, you haven't gone in a single house yet. Get in there." And he starts kind of, you can see in the distance, Sonny, that the last mark has arrived, and you see him walking. He walks past the kind of Bartholomew. He walks kind of past the Bartholomew robot, which goes, what does it say exactly again, Switch?
Greetings, children. Are you here for some candy?
And he kind of goes, edges around it carefully, moves into the dark tunnel, and in the dark tunnel, he just kind of like has his hand over his mouth, and he goes, "It's really dark in here." He starts kind of taking a few steps, and Sonny, as you're of course the first obstacle as he moves into this space, and I imagine the lights are out for this.
Yeah.
And you go up and just kind of do your usual scare routine against this kid, and he just goes, "Ah!" His eyes open wide for a second, and then he just closes them, and you watch as he falls over, passed out.
Oh, poor guy. I'm gonna boop him for health. He's gonna get healed now.
Well, something interesting happens as he passes out. As he falls down to the ground, you see about his forehead a point of darkness appear. And then that point of darkness begins to spread. And all of a sudden, the entirety of the building that you're in is in absolute darkness. And amidst that darkness, you see two kind of points of light. And something very similar to what you saw before. A nightmare has taken shape from this child, as two glowing white eyes in the darkness seem to open and blink, and then disappear, an invisible foe. I would like you all to roll for initiative, as this thing kind of starts... In the complete darkness of the space, you hear a lot of the children that are still in there suddenly scream and kind of panic and move out as this child's nightmare of darkness comes to life. And the foe is also going to roll for initiative. Oh, public. Should not have had advantage, but... Oh, it did not. Great. In this case, the first to act is actually you, Sunny. Again, what do you wish to do, Sunny?
Awesome.
You are in complete darkness.
Fantastic. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and I guess I can cast light. I could try to cast light on myself.
All right, you want to cast light?
Yeah.
It would seem, as you kind of spread the light, and it normally would go around the outside of your petals, it is completely dampened. Whatever this darkness is, its kind of magical power is enough to dampen the simple light cantrip. It would take a more powerful light. Do you have anything else on your turn?
Hex the thingy.
All right. Yeah, in the moment that its eyes kind of blink, there's occasional glimpses of the creature. You are able to kind of hex it. You can tell where it is, and you're also seeing more than one eye moving in the darkness. It seems there's more than one of these creatures that are now moving around in this living darkness. That is going to bring us next in initiative to... that's going to bring us to Goat. What do you want to do, Goat?
I'm going to pick my shield back up, as I'm not wearing anything. And then I am going to run up and kick him.
All right. You go up and kind of kick the darkness. You have disadvantage because you're unable to see it as it stands.
Oh, is it overrides my dark vision?
It does. This darkness is absolute.
All right.
Crit fail anyway. Yeah, you kind of just fumble a little bit in the darkness. You find yourself kind of trip a little bit on a vine, preventing you from making contact with anything. It's hard fighting in this environment. That brings us to, was it foe turn next, actually. And the foes are both going to make attacks against the two of you. The first one is going to be against you, Sunny.
Okay.
A 19.
That'll hit.
Your strength score has been reduced by 3.
Okay.
And next, there's going to be one against you.
He's also gonna get a hellish rebuke.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and roll me that damage.
Yep.
And then that's an 8 against you, Goat.
Oh yeah, that doesn't hit.
Okay.
It didn't roll for some reason.
All right. In that case, that creature kind of misses at you. You see the eyes glow bright near you for a moment. You feel the life force try to drain out of you. You resist the effect, and it's going to make a dexterity saving throw. Which it fails, taking 12 points of fire damage. For a brief moment, the fire seems to light up, and then the darkness kind of smothers it almost immediately. But you
keep in mind, I'm in a plant-filled room, so those are on fire probably too.
Oh shit! The plants that you have kind of summoned, I mean, the building's also wood. It'll probably take a little bit more to completely burn the building down, because the plants that you summoned are fresh and new. But yeah, definitely they're now kind of getting dried out quickly. And the fire spreads over the creature, and for a moment you can kind of see it silhouetted. You can see the form. It's vaguely humanoid, but it's just a whirling mass of shadow as we move now to, was it Greenie or Sarah? It was Greenie. What do you want to do?
There's none in my room, right?
No, but you can hear the sound of commotion, and your room has also been turned into abject darkness. The building's not so big that you can't get there easily.
Okay, I go there.
Alright,
And I shoot the darkness.
you attack the darkness, a classic Dungeons & Dragons meme. Go ahead and make me an attack roll with disadvantage.
Oof.
An 11 does miss, unfortunately. Your kind of bone shard flies out, and you don't seem to hit anything. Anything else on your turn, Greenie?
No.
Alright, and Sarah, I assume you move into the space. What do you want to do?
I also attack the darkness.
Alright. Disadvantage.
Oh, it's gonna have disadvantage on its wisdom save?
You're attacking the darkness with a spell. I
Toll the dead.
I assumed you were attack rolling the darkness. Alright. They're going to make a wisdom saving throw.
Yes.
Actually, this spell just has no effect. You toll the dead on this creature.
That is
Bing!
incorrect, Pete.
Oh, wait.
Because I am using Beacon. It is radiant damage.
Oh, man! Alright, it's definitely going to make a wisdom saving throw then.
I'm doing it on the injured one. It fails, so it takes a d12 of radiant.
Alright, roll that damage.
+2.
Whole big...
Times 2 if it's vulnerable?
Which, of course, as I assume you're aware, it is. There's a sudden cast of light in the space, and you hear the creature kind of hiss and make this kind of horrible noise as the light, for a brief moment, penetrates the darkness and then dissipates once more.
Pete.
Yes.
Was the other creature within 5 feet of that creature?
You don't know?
Well, if
Yes.
it was, my attack chains to a creature within 5 feet because I'm a death cleric, and that was a necromantic cantrip.
Yeah, unfortunately it does not. It is not.
Oh.
In that case, that's going to bring us back to the top of the initiative, or do you have bonus action?
I'll pass it in a second.
Okay. In that case, that's going to bring us to top of the initiative with Sunny. Sunny, what do you want to do?
Take and flame the darkness.
All right. It's going to make a dexterity saving throw, yes?
Yeah. It
tw-
didn't roll for some reason. I'll go with it.
That's okay. It failed, right? 12?
If it's under 13, yep.
All right. Go ahead and roll damage on that.
Where's Sacred Flame?
Yeah, you got to do it on the front side is the trick.
Yeah. There it is. And Hex.
All right. The Hex does not seem to have any effect on this creature, but the radiant damage does a lot as it explodes for 4 more points of damage. It seems very effective against this individual. Anything else on your turn?
No. That should be it.
Okay. That's going to then bring us back to you, Goat. What's going to be Goat?
I'm gonna put my curse on him as well.
Oh, Hexblade's Curse. Nice.
Yes.
And then I assume an attack?
I will kick the darkness.
Alright, kick the darkness. Unfortunately, the 11 misses again. Ugh, so close. You don't get a bonus from Hexblade. How does... I thought...
Not to hit. No, it's just for damage.
Just damage, okay. Yeah, so the Iron Boot, you kind of move again, but you're not able to quite... It's just dark and it's very disorienting. As we move onto the faux turn, they are going to... for one thing, they kind of spread out a little bit, kind of moving around in the space. You can't really get any firm lock on them, making it difficult to take any opportunity attacks. But they kind of move over and to the kind of back line, and it appears that they have now identified you as a major threat, Sarah, as both of them are going to attack you. It's a 12 and a 9. I assume neither of those hit? Sarah? Switch is not responding, but I do not think that either of those match. I can just look.
No, they don't.
Okay, great. In that case, the two creatures, their attacks fail, and that brings us then to the next initiative, which was Greenie. Greenie, what do you want to do?
I shoot the darkness.
You attack the darkness once more. Go for it.
Oh.
Unfortunately, as cool as the crit was, you still have disadvantage because of said darkness, and the attack misses. The bone and arrow once again kind of clatters into the side. Sarah, what's it going to be? If you're having trouble with... Okay, great.
Yeah, more of them wisdom saves, please. You said that they are both attacking me, so I assume they're within 5 feet of each other.
Nah, they flanked you.
What?
Explicitly. But I mean, yeah, they definitely fails.
Wide, Pete.
Yeah, but standard hex. The way a hex board works, you know how a hex board works.
Okay. So D12 plus 2 damage? Or are they damaged or no?
Oh, they're definitely hit. They failed.
Okay.
Or the one that you're attacking failed. I rolled twice by accident. And yeah, roll it up. 13
damage.
You watch as one of these creatures just dissipates into the darkness. Only one set of eyes still kind of remains as we move back to the top of the initiative. Anything else?
I am gonna cast a bonus action healing word on my injured ally.
Okay. You feel some energy kind of course through you, Sunny, as you gain a few hit points back, and it moves back to your turn. What's it, 4 hit points you regained, Sunny? What do you want to do, Sunny?
Oh, well, that's excellent. So I'm gonna go ahead and, action's gonna Sacred Flame. Wherever that...
Let's see if they can... Oh, what happened on my character sheet? Come back! Alright, they fail. You also notice, by the way, I forgot to mention this, as the kind of, the first shadow kind of goes down, the darkness dissipates to a kind of a lesser extent. You are able to see if you have dark vision now, but you're still not, if you do not have dark vision.
I have light on my... Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you have some kind of form of light to see by.
I'm also going to use that on myself. Let's go 3d6.
Okay. Yeah, you do that. You heal yourself for 8 more points of healing. Nice. As well as now this kind of sacred light radiates in the space, and the creature once again lets out kind of a vicious howl, obviously not liking this radiant damage that's being poured into it, which I believe brings us next in the initiative to Goat. Goat, what do you want to do?
I'm going to start by kicking it.
All right, you kick it once more. You're no longer at disadvantage because you have dark vision, yes?
Yes.
It didn't matter. You hit it anyway. Go ahead and roll damage on that. 9 points of damage. You strike into the kind of space where this dark form is appearing, and you kick through it. Its form is incorporeal, but you can watch as it dissipates to a degree. It's not as solid as it once was, what little solidity it had, as you strike into it with your iron boot. Anything else on your turn?
How many are left?
Just the one.
Just the one? No, I'm good then.
All right. That's going to then bring us to... Greenie. What do you want to do, Greenie?
Sure.
13 hits!
No!
For a grand total of 6 plus 2. Oh, magical damage as well. You pull back the bone and marrow, and fire combined with a lot of the radiant damage that... just 6? Oh, yeah. You pull back and fire into the creature. It strikes into the shadow, which you see is nearly almost dissipated, but manages to hang on as we move back to Sarah's turn. Or, sorry, do you have a bonus action, Greenie?
No.
All right, Sarah, what do you want to do?
Bong.
But of course... Oh man, didn't succeed on a single save. Roll damage. I assume it's enough. Absolutely. The creature dissipates in kind of a puff, and once again, left behind from just the pure darkness is this slightly more kind of cohesive form in the darkness, these kind of nightmares that kind of fall down to the ground like a black pool. They shuffle around for a little while on the ground, And then all of you, I imagine, in your own ways, by certainly Goat's boot kind of gets them on the ground. There's some more radiant light from the two of you, and perhaps another bone shot. But with your kind of final attacks on these just kind of pathetic nightmares that are now kind of shifting around on the floor, they are finished off, and you are victorious in this particular encounter. At this point, you can see as the darkness disappears, there's kind of a small fire that's starting to catch from Sunny's last attack, and there's kind of like some smoke starting to pour out of the house, and no child at any point wants anything to do with this place anymore. It seems rumors have gotten around, and for the rest of the night, it's just a couple hours of paid relaxation as you kind of hang out in front of the haunted house and just watch all of the kids that are too afraid to even come in anymore. And
go to one of the other houses, steal some marshmallow candies, and like break off some like marshmallow sticks and cook marshmallows for everyone.
Absolutely.
I just created a bonfire so we could cook the marshmallows easy.
Well, the house was burning down anyway. So.
I created a bonfire on the house just so it's more on fire.
Yeah, but of course, and your house kind of goes up in flames naturally.
I'm not sure to get Skeleton Clown out.
Clown kind of sits around. You set him up around the bonfire, and you all have kind of a nice snack and hang out for the rest of it. And with that, you have completed the first adventure of this Carnival of Souls event, which means each of you gains 100 Bartholomew bucks and gains 1 point of experience, which means if you were level 1, you are now level 2. And with that, that'll bring our first adventure of the night to a conclusion. Congratulations, everybody!
Yay!
Yes, and Bartholomew does keep all of his candy, as she was saying in chat.